Hey guys, I'm BJ. It's Friday and let's talk about WordPress. All right, everybody, it is Friday. We are going to talk about WordPress. This is This Week in WordPress, where we talk about all of the best news, tutorials, and resources that have come out this week in various WordPress publications. This tries to be a very interactive show. Hopefully, people will be talking in the comments a lot. If you have anything to share about your week in WordPress, feel free to throw them in there. We have a fantastic community who is able to work out problems and talk about things like that. And just kind of fix things among everybody, kind of like a peer review for anything that's coming up. So if you have any questions at all, I'll be monitoring the comments. I'll be talking back and forth with everybody. So hopefully we will be able to fix whatever's going on. And if you need to brag about something, there's that too. So if you haven't joined us before, a lot of what this is going through different articles, which are linked in the description of this video, and we will be talking about them, honestly. I curate a bunch of stuff and try to figure out just really what the most interesting parts are, what matters to you guys. I see on YouTube right now that the says my sound is cutting out a little bit. Let me know if it is, and I will try to adjust that, or if it's just a couple of people here and there. All of my stuff is still showing normal. But yeah, so if anybody has that, let me know about it. And we will move on into the news as soon as I can find my document. The main thing that I want to talk to you guys about today, the number one thing that came out, it is the number one thing in your notes in the description here. WordPress 4.9.8 was released. This is big because of the Gutenberg opt-in that was included. I was adjusting my volume. They finally put in the WordPress box on everybody's page that tells you that Gutenberg is coming and whether or not you want to install it or continue with the default editor. This is big because it may be the last major maintenance update before we get 5.0. This version of Gutenberg is really approaching the release candidate that we have going on coming up. So we really want you guys to know that this is coming very very soon. So if you haven't updated yet, you will need to, and you'll need to tell your clients about this as well. You're going to have to let them know that that Gutenberg is coming one way or another. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean they have to use it. There is a classic editor plugin that's been released. It's got a link to it in the window. So just install that, and you won't be using Gutenberg as your default editor. However, I don't know what's going to happen when 5.0 comes out. You should still be able to run. I know the plugin's going to be there. I'm not sure if it will be deactivated by default and have Gutenberg on. So when it comes out, you'll just have to figure that out. But with that in mind, because this is coming up, because this is happening, and wanted you guys to know about it, we, as a company, that Elegant Themes has released our very first initial support for Gutenberg. The link to the blog post that Nick put up is in the description. Like I said, right below here, and we will be really looking at your comments. We want to let you know about different pain points that are coming up in the community, and this is our first of many adjustments of Divi for Gutenberg. What it is, if you haven't seen it, if you haven't looked at the comments or anything to see what's going on and watch the video, this is giving you the option to choose between the Divi builder and Gutenberg, and the classic builder. So we want you to make sure that you're not going to lose any functionality with Divi. That the entire thing of you, some of you guys were afraid of that you may lose Divi functionality or the current experience that you've got is not going to be the case. That everything that we're doing is to make sure that you guys have the absolute best experience that you can with our products, with our theme, with our builders and plugins and everything. So if you look in the link, you'll see, even if you're in Gutenberg, even if you're building a page with blocks, you will have the purple Use Divi Builder update to it. You'll have the button to it in this update. So it will take you to the front end. It will take you to the front end builder. It will take you to the visual builder. Like I said last week, maybe I can't remember if it was last week or the week before, when it came out for the update that we had talked about with having the front end builder, the visual builder be everywhere. So we are using that kind of as an impetus to do this with Gutenberg. So if you have Gutenberg installed, you can just hit the purple button and use Divi. This is, like we said, our initial support. This is our initial support for Gutenberg. This is not something that we're just going to stop. This is not the end of the road. This is not, oh yeah, you can just switch back and forth and so you're good to go. This is just the first step. So I want to very much make sure that you guys know that this is just the beginning of what we're going to be doing. I don't know what the rest of it is because I'm not on the dev team, but you absolutely will have the opportunity to play around with Divi, I guess. No, but you'll be able to work in Divi instead of Gutenberg if you want. So you won't be stuck with it if you don't like it. And if you do, you have that option as well. I see a comment on Facebook that I've heard that you need to install the Classic now to avoid having Gutenberg as default. I've already got it done. So that was kind of what I was hoping for, Michael. If that's the way that it is, then I will. Then I'm ready to go. All of my sites have the Classic Builder installed already. So if, like you said, Michael, if that's something that you guys are interested in and you don't want your clients to see it, you don't want to use it yourself, go ahead and install that Classic Editor plugin. That way you're not hit with the Gutenberg by default. Because I have, despite what they say with it not messing with any kind of formatting, I've had issues with it in migrating sites to and from, or posts specifically, that were written in Gutenberg into another one that I was moving to Divi or just the classic tiny MCE, and there were formatting issues that I could really not figure out how to get rid of sometimes. It was messing up. So that's something that I lost. I was looking at the comments again. I'm seeing some people say that my audio is still low, so let me try to adjust that up just a little bit more with the software here, because my switch is over there. But yeah, I'm worried about the switching back and forth between like the current builder and Gutenberg. So I'm hoping they fix that when 5.0 is released. So you guys can work in Divi. The long story short, your current experience will not change even if you're using Gutenberg. You can just hit the purple button and use Divi. So I'm looking again at some of the comments here. I'm glad that Abigail got to go through Bucksnort and you blinked and went through it, but at least you tried. I mean, it really is just a blink as you're going down I-40. I see Columbian Hosting is here. Hi, everybody. Michael and George, everybody on there is awesome. I'm looking here. Michael asked, so you need to reinstall Classic WP Visual Editor, TinyMC. Yeah, Michael, that's essentially what it is. The Classic Editor plugin is going to keep you with what is currently on there, that you will not have any change, especially according to Michael on Facebook there, because that's what I was hoping would be, that the current builder, the tiny MCE that we have right now, will not change if you have the classic builder plugin installed. So we have and then you have the button, no matter what, in both builders, either Gutenberg or the classic builder, of hitting the purple button and using the Divi builder. That's something that that we want to make sure that you know that you can always do that. I see in the comments that I see Michael saying that none of your sites have updated 4.9.8 yet. Other than that, like, functionality doesn't change, so don't worry about that. Other than the banner that's put up, Michael, this did not do anything to make you use Gutenberg. It did not install it. It did nothing but put up a banner that says, "Hey guys, this is coming up." So it's just a warning banner. So even if they do update automatically or something and somebody sees it, nothing actually changes until you press the button. That said, if you're on SiteGround, I know that my sites are on SiteGround, and they did automatically update. I got an email that was talking about it, and then all the emails that the long list of things that have been updated for WordPress automatically because it's a security and maintenance patch. So make sure that if you are on SiteGround, you're already running it, so you should probably go check, because I was surprised by it. Because I honestly missed the fact that it was releasing on the dates. So, excuse me, I missed the dates that the patch was coming out. So that is what it is. But they'll auto update. I see on Facebook that the feed is a bit glitchy. I apologize for that. I'm hoping it will sort itself out. I've got everything turned off except for this in my browser with the stuff in it. I see Michael said, if you don't install the Classic, you'll get forced into Gutenberg, and you can still switch back and forth to Classic. Yep, absolutely. And Colombian Hosting is asking where the kitty is. She was over there clawing at my armchair, and there is no telling where she is right now. She may make an appearance later today, just depending on how feisty she is. So yeah, that's what 5.0 is coming out. That's kind of big in the news here that you guys will want to pay attention to, and so they've got that coming, and it's coming soon, whether we want to or not, and we need to be ready. So, moving on a little bit past Gutenberg, just very quickly, I wanted to touch on something that may impact you guys and your clients. If you use Jetpack for anything, especially their publicize feature, Facebook has cracked down on the API. They've shut down the API that lets you publish to user timelines. So if you or any clients who had personal blogs or anything like that I've had chefs who post updates to their menus and things like that from their sites on their personal pages, on their personal timelines. Facebook doesn't allow that anymore. So you can still post to business pages and anything that you've set up, but you cannot do that anymore to personal pages. So that does change the way that Jetpack's publicize thing will work. Really how anything's automatic posting works if you had it going to a regular person's page and not a page that you follow and like and interact with as a business. So they use the Facebook Pages icon or app for. I know that I put that under news because that is sure to affect somebody in some way, and I want you to know that it's not just you and it's not just Jetpack. Nobody in the world is able to post to public or private Facebook pages through an API anymore. They completely shut it down. So that's something that you guys may come into, and I wanted you to be aware of it. Excuse me. Additionally, the only other thing with the news this week is that the WordPress.com has free stock photos now. Like, I thought this was really, really cool that you could that you can now go into the WordPress.com background, the Calypso or backend, the Calypso backend there, and they have a complete stock photo library that you can search through. When I read about that, I only found this one just maybe half an hour before the stream when I ran across it, and I'm excited to go in and look at it. I want to know what I can do with another access to another free stock library. I really like free stock photos and royalty-free stuff, so I was crazy excited whenever Elegant Themes put ours out that in all the layout packs that you can take any of the images and do whatever you want to with them. So that's another set of free stock images for people. And additionally, with this WordPress.com one, I think it's great. I'm hoping it gets rolled out to WordPress.org folks, but even just having it there with .com, that is a great step into the future. It makes me really excited for the kind of stuff that's coming. Outside of Gutenberg, I've been really, really impressed by what Automatic and WordPress have been putting out lately. I was just amazed that they've put out such wonderful stuff outside of Gutenberg. And it's not that Gutenberg isn't wonderful; it's just not ready. So that's something that I think is worth noting, is that if you're upset about Gutenberg and irritated that it's coming, they're doing other really good things, especially to their .com. They are making their .com a fantastic product. I've actually recommended it to a lot of people who are getting into blogging and don't know enough about tech to really start out on self-hosted, and so just to see if they like it. And .com has been doing some really good stuff lately. It makes me really, really happy that they're doing all of this. And I see Uncle Social said he always forgets about Pexels, which is where the WordPress.com library comes from, that he uses Pixabay. And yeah, I use Pixabay, and I didn't actually know about Pexels until this. This makes me really happy that there's another one, like I said, because Pexels is entirely new. So anything that's on there that is unique to it is going to be completely new to me as well. So I can get all the stock photos of happy business people eating salads in an atrium that I want. And they're going to be new business people eating salads in an atrium, being very happy, that I've never seen before. So it's there. I love stock photos. I love stock photos, and I don't know why. Like stock music, stock photos, stuff like this. There's something about free creative stuff, free creative assets that just really get me excited. The same like public domain and Creative Commons, everything like that. I just love the idea of. So I see George in YouTube has mentioned that Gutenberg has a medium-like feel to you, and it absolutely does. That's what it feels like to me when I'm writing in Gutenberg. It feels like I'm in the back end of Medium and end up publishing on WordPress. And I think that's something that they were going for because of how popular Medium can be and is, and it's losing a little bit of momentum, Medium itself, like we talked about last week, with some of the places kind of moving away from Medium and back into their own WordPress sites. But Medium is a very good platform. It is easy. It's fun to use. I like writing on Medium, and I like reading on Medium a lot. So them emulating Medium.com with the Gutenberg interface, I think is great. Like, I love the idea of it. And so I'm on board with at least the UI and UX that they have, because the UX is going to be okay and be good with Gutenberg eventually. And Uncle Social, is that a real URL? He says women laughing alone with salad.tumblr.com, and I'm not sure if that's real or not, because I can totally see that being real, because I've seen some weird tumblers. Anyway, so it is real. That's awesome. Anyway, moving forward, if you're just joining us, if you've come in on after this, if you just come in and you've never been here before, whatever, we are doing This Week in WordPress streams brought to you by Elegant Themes, the makers of Divi, and we are moving out of the news section and into the tutorial section. Every week I curate a list of articles that were published this week about WordPress, about various topics, so that you can make your Friday afternoon pass a little quicker, and so that you can hopefully learn something and apply it and make your professional life or personal life or just your life a little bit better. So under tutorials, the first one, I found this one and I got so excited for you guys. And I don't know why. Like, I got excited to share this one because the very first one under tutorials from Media Temple was teaching your clients how to use the website you built them. This wasn't published within the last week. Like, it was published on July 19th, but it's close enough. But this is perfect, y'all. This is one of those articles that I was talking about last week that I'm just really glad exists, because these are WordPress topics that not everybody has experience in doing or the expertise to really, really do themselves without prep. Some people can wing it and be like, oh yeah, you need to do this and this and this, and that's fine. Other people need to plan and know exactly what you're doing, and you may not even know how or have a good system for it. And having a specific system, they said, is really, really useful for teaching your clients. The articles talking about making sure that that you're having a meeting, and if they're remote, make sure that you do a Skype meeting or something like that, Google Hangouts, Zoom, whatever, that it is, that it's there. Michael in YouTube just says, for those of you on Facebook, that the YouTube stream is coming through a lot stronger than Facebook, that it's a lot more solid. So if you need to go over there, you can go to youtube.com/elegantthemes/live and see it. I'm going to type that in here, .com/elegantthemes.live. Not lives, live. Y'all will be able to go there and watch it a little bit better if that's better for you. I really do hate it that Facebook has been giving us trouble, and it's not just this stream. We've been trying to figure out what the issue with Facebook streaming is for a little bit. So we're hoping that Facebook streaming gets a little more consistent. I'm not sure. Nothing has changed on our end, and it's hitting all of us as a team when we live stream to Facebook. So we're hoping that all of that gets fixed. There are various issues on it, but I see on Facebook, hi Roy. So hopefully you'll get the stream sorted out. And one of the things that they're talking about in this article about teaching your clients to use your websites that you built them, because they can get very confused, and I'm going to be having to do this soon on a side project, is making sure that you do screen sharing. That if you're doing it remote, make sure that you actually show them instead of talking to them, because it's really easy, because we as professionals, we built it, we're close to it, we know exactly how all of this stuff works, we know how everything is, and they don't. They've never seen this before. So if you do screen sharing to show them what is going on and how to do something, and then have them do the same thing, because you're going to want them to do it manually as well by their hands, show them and then have them replicate it, that will help them learn. That was one thing I learned at the tutoring center when I ran it, was that you can tell people as much as you want. You can show people like whatever. I tutored English when I taught there. I taught English, and you have to let them make that mistake themselves. You have to let them feel it and get that memory, that muscle memory on their own, or they just won't get it. So just showing them how to do something on a webinar isn't going to be full enough. So do some screen sharing and then get them logged in and doing it. And then they also mention that while meetings and screen sharing is great, doing screencasts where you make a recording of yourself doing this and doing part of this training, or even, just recording the meeting that you have, that's something that you can do and just record and provide them so that they can go back to that documentation later. So if you've built something custom that you can't just say, hey, oh yeah, go look at the Elegant Themes knowledge base, that kind of thing. If you, click the help button and watch the Elegant Themes video, if something comes up and you've done a lot of custom, then you might be able to record and do stuff like that. But it's a very interesting article. I like it, and I wanted to share it with you guys because maybe you'll get some new ideas in terms of what you can do with training, and maybe up your game and move more, if you want to, into a consultation position because you have that experience in teaching and webinars. It may open a whole new world for you. Oh, excuse me. George in the YouTube comment says that he uses Loom to show client stuff. That's something that I've never heard of, George. I've never heard of Loom, but I'm certainly going to look it up right now. For the first thing is a free screen and video sharing, so that's awesome. Also, let's see. I'm glad that you like reviewing our themes at the Young Entrepreneurs forums. Like, that's great. Awesome. I think it's fantastic. I always like to hear. I'd like to know what you think about them, especially Divi. But the the next one under the tutorials was just really brief. I wanted to let you guys know that we've talked about Local by Flywheel before. We've talked about how great it actually is. Like, it's a really, really good piece of software, and that it doesn't really try to upsell you too much. Like, it obviously is going to upsell you because it's a branded product wanting you to use it, but use their main product. But it's great. Use it. But they also have other ways, and they walk you through how to, like, this one is ways that you're going to use your local WordPress environment. I have another one that I thought I was getting into. Actually, I clicked into the wrong link. This one is 4 ways on how to use your WordPress local development. And this one is just showing you ways to do local that, local development is something like you can develop it offline, like when you're flying. They talk about that. I know a lot of people who have taken long flights and then had a local WordPress server on their machine going. It lets you try out new themes and plugins and mess with code without without breaking your entire server. So that's always handy. Testing out WordPress updates, like the 5.0 update that's coming out. You can see how everything is going to look on a client site without having to make it go live with 5.0, let's say, and just let you troubleshoot errors a lot easier without having to worry about people being affected by it. The word affected left my brain. I see George on YouTube has a Chrome extension for Loom that works wonders. Divi Chat guys, those Divi Chat folks are great. They know so much stuff like that. It makes me really, really happy. And Pamela, that is something I've never even thought of. Oh my goodness. I got excited. On YouTube, Pamela says that local lets you create a portfolio before you've had much experience. That is a very good point. That even though it may not be online or anything like that, that you have a portfolio of designs that you've been able to do. And on top of that, you can also talk about that you're a developer who works offline, that you know about these kinds of things, because a lot of people may not know about local development, which under resources I think is where I put it. But I'm looking to see, maybe I didn't paste it. I was supposed to. I can't find it. No. Nope, there it is. It's under tutorials on how to install WordPress locally. That there are a lot of 5 different. They have 5 different local WordPress development environments if you go down a little bit lower, and it shows you different options that you have, some more complicated, some less so than others, but they're all the very popular ones that people do. Where, like, they got Local by Flywheel on there. They have it desktop server, Docker, even using Ubuntu Linux, and the Zamp Wamp Mamp Lamp. It's I love saying that because my accent makes it really funny, to me at least. I tickle myself whenever I say, like, Zamp Wamp Mamp Lamp for because the first letter is always based on the operating system that it's going off of, and database stuff. So it makes me happy to say WAMP. Anyway, there's a Yoast article under this that I put under tutorials because even though it's not quite a how-to, it's something that I have personal pain point with, that I think everybody who works professionally as a writer has personal pain points with at some point in their career. It's called SEO for boring products. That you have to think about this, y'all. You're trying to write content. You're trying to make sure that you are writing the most entertaining, informational content that you can. But sometimes those products suck. Like, it's not that they suck. I shouldn't say that. It's just that what do you have to say? In the article, they say, what do you have to say about 50 different varieties of screws? Like, how do you make that interesting and say something different from the other 49 varieties of screws? Like, when you're selling brown shoes, how would you go about describing all of the different kinds? It was interesting to me to look at this because that's kind of something that's actually in our content creators handbook here at Elegant Themes, is that part of our job is making sure that even if we're writing about a very technical topic, that we need to keep it at least entertaining enough to make you want to read through it. Otherwise, you're going to stop. We don't want it to read like you're reading an instruction manual. And I mean, as much as I love the Mozilla Developers Network, those are not designed, those articles that in their wiki that are some of the most fantastic documentation for everything on the internet, that if you've never gone to the MDN, you really, really should. The Mozilla Developers Network, like, it is great. They just put up a bunch of free how-to articles, like documentation for pretty much everything in web development, and their documentation. That's the thing that this SEO for boring products is talking about, is that if you're wanting people to engage with your products, that it's hard to write into something entertaining for everything. They like the MDN, their entire purpose is to give you that information in the most technical way possible. They're not doing it. Elegant Themes, ours, is trying to make sure that you have the best time while you're getting that content, while you're getting that same information. So they were talking about, making sure you get the basics right, keyword research, all of this for whatever it is that you're doing, even if it's a boring product. And they talk about being able to talk about product categories, not so much the product itself, where you go more of a wide audience approach rather than digging down into each kind. Like they said, if you're writing SEO and you want people to come there and look at your products, maybe if you're working at a wool store, they said, why don't you write something that to bring people in on knitting a scarf or about the purpose of that, rather than trying to sell individual spools of wool. And they also talk about storytelling, that you've probably noticed on a lot of different tech websites. That I even posted some last week. I think it was the WooCommerce article about storytelling. It's become really, really popular for you to see different kinds of success stories or case studies that are centered around a particular person or business or group of people. That makes it more personal and makes us connect to it, so that even if it's a topic that we've heard about a million times or we've written about a million times, like how to install a plugin from the WordPress repository, if you're telling a story about somebody who WordPress changed their life and was able to that they got into WordPress development because they heard about plugins and liked it better than Joomla or Drupal that they were working in and all this, and you can work that into the article. That kind of storytelling is way better than trying to do a step-by-step dry how-to. It's like click this button and click this button. That storytelling is really, really popular right now among everybody, actually, among the internet. And the best one is that was talking to your users and knowing how your users speak, what they're looking for. Because the way, like, my wife is a woodworker, and the way that I would write about a power tool that she uses is night and day different from the way that she would. And when she goes and looks for it on the internet, she will look for something completely different in a different aspect than I would, using different keywords, just different approaches to it. So you need to talk to your users, look at what they're actually searching for. So even if you're writing about screws, you'll be able to get something in there about like what they actually need. You're going to be able to say something specific that you use this on. I don't know, I'm talking about screws. I know so little about tools and everything. Like if you're using self-driving screws on to put up drywall, like that's the kind of thing I would say. And I know you don't do that. And that is excuse me, I saw comments. I got distracted. That those are the kinds of things that you don't want to have happen, because Jennifer would know, like, oh no, you don't do stuff like that. You use this. It just woodworking and everything like that is her domain. So I wouldn't even know how to write about those products. But she would, because she's a user, and then she could tell me. So if you have anything like that, let people tell you the stories, how they use it, and pay attention, and that will make your more boring products more likely to draw other people's attention. And I'm glad that Reed on YouTube, I'm sorry you almost missed this, but I'm glad you're here now. And sorry, Roy, there are comments that we can't stream comments on both of them. We're working on a way that will hopefully get comments from both platforms to come up on the stream. Has not happened yet, but because it's actually really hard to do, and it's specifically hard to do for Facebook. Facebook comments don't want to show up online because Facebook doesn't like playing nice with other things. And before you say anything, Uncle Social, shh, don't even, man. Sorry, I tickle myself. But yeah, so in the rest of the tutorials here, like, they were talking about how to, the very bottom one from WP Beginner is how to add a one-click login with Google on your WordPress site. Different kinds of things like that, like social logins, whether you like them or not, are really important. And then that's just one of them, like showing you how to do that, because like, people like me are lazy, and even though I don't like logging in with Facebook very much, I'll still log in with Google. I don't know, Google is just as bad, like, about privacy and the information taken. I'll sign in with Google all day long. Just don't want to do it with Facebook. I have, like, I know. But then we have one on here that I thought was really important for you guys, especially given that Google now has the SSL. I should probably tell you what article I'm going to talk about. It is the Integrate SSL on WordPress MultiSite. That one is awesome. This one, because SSL is like super important, because Google, not only are they ranking websites based on having being secure and SSL, they are also making it so that Chrome now, or at least it's coming this fall, like they're working on a deployment plan in stages where, depending on at what point of the year it is, they're going to eventually make SSL and secured websites the standard. Those are going to be default. That you're not even going to see by the end of the year the green secure and lock on a website in Chrome anymore. You're just going to see it as a website. That is what everybody, that's the standard. Like, Google is changing HTTPS to be the standard because of Chrome. So they're going to essentially be punishing people who don't. What's going to happen is when by the end of the year, they're going to have warnings for people on insecure sites. If you don't have your site secured, then it's going to show people that it's dangerous, rather than having a secure label for people to know that. It's just going to be assumed it's secure. So when this one popped up into my feed about integrating SSL on MultiSite, it was I wanted to make sure that you guys got this information, that you have actually secured every site on your network. And you can do it with Let's Encrypt. There are There are. I see George on YouTube called it the SSL red screen of death. I'll tell you something about that in a second. But this website, the WP Lift article, I'm breaking it down, is making sure that you go through the migrate DB and you actually change all of the HTTP and HTTPSs, the redirects, and using the search console to change everything, the way Google looks at it, and the default URL for these sites, that this is going through the entire gamut of what you need to do for your multi-site, and it's great. Like, I had a problem, the red screen of death that George on YouTube was mentioning, I had it happen on 3 of my sites that I was running for like my podcasts and personal projects that I've been working real hard at promoting and getting people there because I have a new project that's starting next week, and I was like, okay, so here, and I log in one day and I'm gonna go, and I'm like, okay, it's like 6:30 in the morning, I'm really excited, I log into my WordPress admin site, SSL red screen to death. All of my sites, every page, every time I try to save, everything is insecure. It's like, I know that I have SSL on here. I know I'm using the really simple SSL like that, and I also have the mixed content, fix insecure content plugin on there going because I'm lazy and didn't want to do the database migration that is better. And then I ended up realizing my certificates had expired. So apparently SiteGround, even though I thought they auto-renewed all of your SSL certificates, they didn't. So all of mine had expired overnight. So I had to go and redo it and reset up everything with wildcards, because now Let's Encrypt does wildcards, which means that every subdomain on that primary domain is SSL as well. So that's great for multi-site because that's how they're set up. You've always gotten the subdomains or subfolders as SSL, but the subdomains needed wildcards, and that came out earlier this year, and I was really excited about that. And I finally got this set up, so it works right now. I see on YouTube some people were talking about how there are glitches with the auto renew on SiteGround, and that Allison found auto renewals glitchy, and then George said they had an issue with wildcards. So yeah, it is. Yeah, it's an issue. It worked. Luckily, I'm not important, and so I got that fixed. I see on Facebook that Andrew has come in, and that I think the Facebook stream is a little bit behind where I am because apparently my wife is on there talking about things, and I think it's back in the SEO post still, because I'm following a conversation that's different. And apparently, yes, my wife was watching and would write about tools differently than I am. And so, yeah. I'm sorry, Andrew, I wasn't able to answer your question then, but I think you figured it out by now. And I apologize for that because Facebook's just super weird. I see that Karen on YouTube is saying that SiteGround is having a problem, that they should auto-renew, and that George had that their DevOps, that the SiteGround DevOps are looking into it. So that's good to know. Thank you, George. That makes me feel better that it wasn't just something I did, because I honestly assumed it was something I did when setting it up, because this is my first year on SiteGround. So yeah. And you were talking about earlier with Let's Encrypt. I saw Reed on YouTube had mentioned, he said, Let's Encrypt is great for just standard sites, but I'd recommend Symantec for like e-commerce sites. And one of those is that they have a solid guarantee. As I say this, Reed types it out, so I'm just going to read his. The paid ones have a legit warranty behind all purchases. It covers up to like $1 million. So I would rather pay to that way. If I get hacked, then I'm covered. They're more secure. No, that is not it. They run on the same protocol. Like, you are not getting any better protection from a paid certificate. What you're getting is the backing of the provider that you're buying it from, and it will be directly to you. That is also what you get if you ever look at a website and it says the name of the URL beside it. Like if it says Twitter Inc. or whatever, I think whenever I go to Twitter, it says something. So I'm just going to look on here and see what it says. It says Twitter Inc. US beside the green lock, beside where it says secure. Instead of secure, it says Twitter Inc. US. That tells you the country of origin. It tells you that it is registered specifically to that company and that website, so that it has an extra layer of trust there, as well as the backup from the issuer. Things. But for most of us, honestly, it doesn't matter. I'm never going to need someone to back up, to give me a guarantee for $1 million. I mean, you can guarantee me for $1 million. I'll never have anything that I'll be able to call it in on, but that's what it's for. Most of us are fine on the Let's Encrypt. Like, nobody's trying to get in on my Geek Fitness blog. I mean, that's just, nobody is. But not trying to, at least to get money, because there is none to be had. So that, and then moving forward into the last one under the tutorials is that WPMU Dev did an article on creating duplicate content with Gutenberg. I included this specifically just so that you know what the content is, like how to use Gutenberg. There's going to be sorry, I saw a comment again. I get so distracted today, y'all. So there's going to be a lot of difference if you've never used Gutenberg. And so when I see one of these tutorials that's how to do something simple, like just duplicate content, I want to put it up here so that if you need to share it with your clients, or if you need it, that just to brush up on what the UI is going to be. So they go into just showing you how to duplicate blocks, do all of that stuff. Stuff you're probably doing in Divi already. I mean, there's a really good chance that you clone a bunch of modules already. So they're talking about all of this in terms of Gutenberg and sharing blocks, which are what they call our global modules and global stuff is they're shared, all of it. So it's just basically I completely lost my train of thought, y'all. I do not know what happened. So it is just a tutorial on basics on Gutenberg that I want you guys to know was out there. So we only have about 10 minutes left, so I'm going to move into the resources that I put in. Every week whenever I get to the resources, I always like to say, this is the kind of thing that I would just tweet. This is the kind of stuff that I would just share with people that I want you guys to know is out there. And I thought there were some really cool ones this week. I thought there was some stuff that I've actually got bookmarked now that I... Oh, excuse me. Yeah. Yes. My brain, y'all, today is crazy. So the cool ones that I found today that I wanted to talk about were specifically, first of all, there is a good discussion on the Elegant Themes blog that is Facebook fan subscriptions, that they're talking about implementing a kind of a Patreon kind of thing onto Facebook that John Hughes, one of our contributors, is talking about, and there's a discussion in the comments about whether or not paying through Facebook and getting those kinds of that kind of revenue, like the YouTube Premium subscriptions, Twitch subscriptions, things like that, are good or not. The Facebook for Creators is in beta, and it is as he says, at the moment, the Facebook subscription scheme is still in beta and only accessible to selected users who have registered for the Facebook for Creators program. It's difficult to gauge how it'll stack up against Patreon and whether it's worth considering jumping ship to Facebook's alternative, but the smart move is to focus on the current monetization platform for the moment and see what happens when this rolls out. But it's a really good primer to see what's going on. Like, you can see, because Facebook is a massive traffic generator, regardless of whether or not you like Facebook, whether you're Uncle Social or not, you cannot deny how much traffic comes through there. Even though they did have a lower quarter than they ever have before, so it's still, but they're still going, like, they're still Facebook. So. And Michael, if you need to share a link, you can put dots on there. You can put spaces between the dots or something like that, and it will share. Uncle Social did that earlier with the Tumblr link. And Uncle Social's right. I don't mind Patreon, but I'd avoid paying creators through Facebook. I don't want Facebook to get a cut of my money. That is absolutely true. And yeah, it's the Alabama rain, or it's the Alabama not rain, and all of my allergies are acting up right now. So that one. And yeah, Uncle Social, Facebook is terrible about copyright infringement. They have, a lot of YouTubers do have content stolen, put on Facebook. Also, pages tend to have content taken and used in promotion and not compensated for it because of the terms of use. Like, there's a lot of reasons to be skeptical of this, but I did want you guys to know it was there. I'm a fan of crowdfunding. I'm a big fan of Kickstarter and Patreon and Ko-fi, Ko-fi, which is kind of a tip jar like Patreon. There are a couple other things that I think are cool too that I'll talk about later, but not today, but later when in things. And but they're neat. So I don't know about Facebook. I'm the same way. And then so one of the other final things I thought was worth mentioning is that Kinsta did an interview with Kevin Muldoon, who has been in the WordPress writing game for, goodness gracious, forever. He had started out running WP Mods. It was a WordPress blog that he wrote for, and he sold off and was able to keep going and writing. And he is one of our contributors, especially a while back, a couple of years ago, to the Elegant Themes blog. If you look at the blog from around 2015 to 2017, you're going to find Kevin Muldoon articles everywhere. He's a great writer. He is very prolific in the WordPress sphere, and I just wanted to give him a shout out for being awesome, getting this interview on Kinsta, and thought you guys might want to read it. It's very interesting. It talks about, WordPress hosts, what it's like to work as a writer in WordPress, this kind of stuff. So it was just really cool. I liked it. And Kevin I don't know Kevin, I've never spoken with him myself, but I think he's really cool from the idea of this and the articles I've read on our site and seen. So that guy is neat, and I want you to read his interview. And the very last one, it's the very last thing on the site, on the page. If you scroll all the way down to the bottom of the description, you'll see a Torque article, Torque, that is the top productivity tools for bloggers. Excuse me. And even though you're not all bloggers, that these productivity tools, there were some on here that I loved. That, yeah, you've got the normal ones that are, Evernote. You're going to see stuff like that everywhere. You're going to see things like Grammarly and the Google Suite. I mean, yes, we know that Google Apps, G Suite, all of this stuff, that stuff is great. But what I loved was the fact that they included Ahrefs, which is a very fine product to be able to get keyword insights, look at your competitor sites. You can track a lot of rankings using them. They're so good that Ahrefs, I have no idea how to say it. It's the HTML for links. And they're so good that their trial is still paid. It's still a 7-day trial because their tool is that powerful. Like, if you were able to continually sign up for free for free accounts, that would be insane. So their product is great, and it's on here. And they talk about Feedly and stuff like that, but they mention the Hemingway app, which is really cool, which is really, really good. It just lets you write, and it edits you, and it shows very different way. It grades you on how your writing is, where it's kind of like a Grammarly as you go, and like the Yoast readability tab, I suppose, on the plugin. That's the kind of tool that this is. It's a very simple writing tool, like Ghost or Ulysses. Not Ghost, Bear or Ulysses. And really, well, yeah, Ghost, the blogging platform too. It is there, and it is good. That I wanted to make sure you knew about it. And also, I wanted to make sure that, where is it on here? I can't find it now. Content Gems. This is so cool. I'd never seen this one until this, and it is a way. It's a curation system on the way they say it is, the way this article puts it, and it's really neat. Basically, it's a content discovery tool that allows you to build up a reserve of content to curate and share. It works in every industry, blah, blah, blah. So it's a tool for bloggers and consultants who span lots of industries. Like, I love stuff. Like, I'm always reading all of this. Like, this looks like a really, really well put together RSS reader, where they have tons of aggregated content on here that is legitimately worth reading, where so many content aggregators have just stuff I don't want to look at. Like, I love Flipboard's aggregate, but I don't like most others. This one is supposed to be great. I did a little bit of cursory looking around on the interwebs, and I'm really interested in this. I'm going to be checking it out. So I really, really, really love good content stuff. I really thought it was cool. So I see on YouTube, this just popped up, and so I only have about 2 minutes left before I'm going to have to say goodbye to all of you guys today. That Video Superhero here is looking at converting a Python Django site to WordPress. Any suggested articles or methods for transitioning? Oh my. That is I will think on that. I'll do what I can to find something on that. That is, I think you should, mainly because I don't like Python, and that's going to get me like shunned by a whole bunch of people. But I don't like Python as a language. I've never enjoyed writing the first little bit of it. So I'm like, yay, you're getting away from Python. Do my little dance. But in terms of migrating it over, I'm sure there's a tool, but I don't know. Don't tell him that, Uncle Social. I am not closing down. I'm closing down for a week. I'll be back next Friday. So that's interesting. I would like to see about that, because those kind of migrators, like there are all sorts of like Squarespace to WordPress, Blogger to WordPress. In terms of having one come out of Django, I'm sitting here thinking about it now when I shouldn't be. But yeah, that's awesome. I will look for that, because it's something that if it has to exist, it absolutely has to. And I say that not in that surely it exists now, but that is something that has a direct need to exist. So yeah, I'll look into that, and if I find one, I'll include it in next week's. And if you find one, Video Superhero, whose first real name I cannot remember to save my life, and I'm so sorry. If you find one, shoot me either a tweet at Professor Beej or email me bj@elegantthemes.com, and because I want to know where that is and be able to look around in that sphere too. Oh, Ben. Hi, Ben. No, don't worry, Mark. We are not going anywhere. We are not going to, we're not canceling the show. Don't worry. Nope. It was just Uncle Social being Uncle Social. So it's past time, you guys. I've got to head out of here. So I hope that you guys have enjoyed it. I've enjoyed talking with you guys like I always do. It is absolutely the best part of my week. I love seeing all of your shining faces, and by shining faces, I mean my shining face and your wonderful names, and learning your real name. I am able to get through a stream, and I see on there, that reminded me, Mark Spence. Mark reminded me that we've made it through a stream without anyone asking about custom headers and footers, so I'm just going to give you all a round of applause for that. That is very awesome. But yeah, I do appreciate you guys coming around and talking and watching. I really, really do. I'm sorry, Jose, that you came in late on Facebook there, but I hate it. But Majorca is awesome that you're from there. But now there's the header and footers. I'll see you guys next Friday. And guys, remember, I want to push this right now for you guys. I forgot to mention it earlier. I did mention it earlier, I think. I don't remember. Mac is doing a live stream on the new Elegant Themes Divi update at 6 a.m. on Monday. It's going to be over our initial Gutenberg support. So he's going to break down and walk through how our new update works and what you can expect out of Divi and Gutenberg right now as we're moving toward the release. So that comes on at 6 a.m. Eastern time. It is going to be recorded. All of our streams are going to be on Facebook and on YouTube after they're done, but I want to make sure that you guys know that Mac is going to be doing that. So if you have any questions specifically about that update and how it works, how it's going to work with Gutenberg, all of this, he's going to be live at 6 a.m. on Monday morning. So thank you guys for coming. Check out that stream, and hopefully I will see you guys again on next Friday. Bye, everybody.